In our last thrilling episode, our heroes delved deeper into the mysteries of Drakestide Cove. The abandoned company headquarters revealed its secrets, including the imprisoned Jack Moonstrider, trapped by an insidious anti-magic field. Through clever magical deduction and Malveth's connection to the Shadowfell, our adventurers freed their enigmatic ally. But freedom brought more questions than answers. Jack spoke of a hidden gateway beneath the city, hinting at a vast conspiracy involving warlocks and a mysterious cult. The plot thickened as Wormrex and Jelani set sail on a secret mission, leaving the party to unravel the threads of deceit alone. Armed with enchanted rings for communication and powerful artifacts from the company's hidden armory, our heroes now stand at the precipice of a grand and perilous adventure. As they prepare to plunge into the heart of Drakestide Cove's underworld, one question burns in their minds. What dark forces truly pull the strings in this city of secrets and shadows? Join us now as we return to Down in the Dungeon for another pulse-pounding episode of magic, mystery, and mayhem. As the golden light of late afternoon bathes the streets of Drakestide Cove, our intrepid heroes stand at the threshold of destiny. The imposing silhouette of the company's headquarters looms behind them, a silent sentinel to their departure. We hear the creak of an old wooden door opening.
May the winds of fortune fill your sails, my friends. Remember, in Drakestide Cove, shadows often hide the deepest truths.
Jack's eyes, still bearing the haunted look of his recent ordeal, sweep over the assembled group. Behind him, the Shadakai twins, Kaelin and Lyra, stand like living statues, their otherworldly presence a stark contrast to Jack's weathered demeanor.
Don't worry, old man. We'll try not to burn down the city while you're napping.
I'd appreciate that, my dear. This old tower's seen enough excitement for 1 century.
As the group turns to leave, we see a moment of silent communication pass between Malveth and the Shadakai twins. A barely perceptible nod is exchanged, an unspoken promise to keep Jack safe. The sound of footsteps on cobblestone streets fills the air as our heroes make their way into the heart of the city.
So where do we start in this maze of a city? I feel like a mountain goat lost in a forest.
Oh, I don't know. I kind of like it here. All these nooks and crannies, secrets waiting to be uncovered.
Let us not forget our purpose. We seek the shadows that threaten to engulf this city.
As they walk, the bustling sounds of city life surround them. The clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the calls of street vendors, and the distant laughter from a tavern create a tapestry of urban chaos.
Malveth's right. We need a plan. This city's too big to just wander aimlessly.
If I may, I might have an idea or two about where to start.
All eyes turn to Nali, her lithe form seeming to blend with the lengthening shadows of the street.
In a city like this, information is currency. And the best place to trade in that currency is where people let their guards down.
Ah, you mean taverns? Now you're speaking my language, little one.
Taverns, yes, but also marketplaces, temples, even the docks. Anywhere people gather and the gossip flows as freely as ale.
Oh, and we could split up to cover more ground, right? Use our rings to stay in touch?
A sound strategy, but we must tread carefully. Remember, we don't know who might be watching us.
Malveth's right. We should pair up. Safety in numbers and all that.
As the group discusses their plan, the sun casts long shadows across the cobblestone streets. The air grows cooler, carrying with it the salt tang of the nearby sea and the promise of secrets waiting to be uncovered.
We need to cover more ground. Make our presence known, but subtly. Let's split up.
Split up in a city we barely know, that seems risky.
Oh, come on, big guy. Where's your sense of adventure?
Nali's eyes scan the group, her gaze settling on Crothar's imposing figure and Littlehorn's eager expression.
Crothar, Littlehorn, you're with me. We're going to take a little stroll through the less reputable parts of town.
Ah, I see. You want me to play the big scary bodyguard, eh?
Exactly. Your presence alone should discourage any unwanted attention.
And me? What's my role in this little expedition?
You, my dear, are our secret weapon. That friendly face of yours will open doors that Crothar's muscles and my reputation might keep firmly shut.
As Nali outlines her plan, we see Malveth and Kithri exchange a glance, an unspoken conversation passing between them.
And what of us, Shadow Walker? Where shall we tread while you dance with danger?
Let me guess. You're sending us to rub elbows with the high and mighty.
Sharp as ever, Kithri, the Temple District. Those gilded halls often hide the darkest secrets.
Ah, yes. Nothing quite like the pious to make one appreciate the honesty of thieves and cutthroats.
With their roles assigned, the group prepares to part ways. The air is thick with anticipation and a touch of apprehension.
Sundown at the company tower. Don't be late, and for the love of all that's holy, try not to start a war in the slums.
Us? Never. We're the very picture of discretion.
Ugh, about as discreet as a dragon in a pottery shop.
As the two groups part ways, we follow Gnarly, Crothar and Little Horn as they make their way towards the seedier side of Drakestide Cove. The streets grow narrower, the buildings more dilapidated, and the faces they pass more wary and weathered.
Remember, we're here to observe and gather information. Let me do most of the talking.
What if someone tries to, rob us or something?
Then they'll learn why it's unwise to rob a mountain.
As the day wears on, we see our trio navigating the complex social landscape of the slums. Gnarly's silver tongue and quick wit open doors and loosen lips, while Crothar's imposing presence ensures those doors stay open. Little Horn, true to Gnarly's prediction, charms even the most hardened residents with her earnest curiosity and disarming smile. Our trio finds themselves in a small, dimly lit tavern. The day's investigation has left them tired but buzzing with new information.
Did you hear what that old woman said about the sewers? And the dock worker's story about the midnight shipments?
And don't forget the urchin's tale of the warehouse with the strange door.
And the way the tavern keeper clammed up when I asked about missing persons. There's fear in this part of the city, and it's not just of the usual street thugs.
Our heroes find themselves in the bustling market district of the slums. The air is thick with the scent of spices, unwashed bodies, and an undercurrent of desperation. We hear the cacophony of market sounds, haggling voices, the clinking of coins, and the occasional cry of a street urchin.
By the mountain's beard, I never thought I'd be so glad to see a fruit stand. My stomach's been growling louder than a cave bear all afternoon.
I thought that was just your normal speaking voice, big guy.
Shh. Both of you. Something's not right.
Gnarly's ears twitch, her eyes darting from shadow to shadow. The hairs on the back of her neck stand on end as an eerie silence begins to descend upon the market.
We're being watched. Get ready.
Watched? By who? I don't see...
As if summoned by Gnarly's words, 5 figures materialize from the shadows above. They land in a circle around our heroes, their movements fluid and predatory. Each wears a Viridian domino mask, their eyes glinting with malevolent purpose.
Looks like we've got some uninvited guests to our little shopping trip.
Those masks. I've heard whispers. The circle of the whispering shadow.
The what now? Why didn't you mention this earlier?
Because until now it was just a name. A boogeyman to scare children and fools.
As our heroes ready themselves for battle, the crowd around them scatters, stalls abandoned in their haste to escape. The sudden silence is broken only by the sound of steel being drawn as the masked assailants unsheathe their rapiers.
5 against 3, I like those odds.
Make that 5 against 3.5. I may be small, but I pack a punch.
Don't underestimate them. Look at their hands.
As if on cue, we hear a low, ominous hum. The air around the masked figures begins to shimmer with arcane energy, their free hands tracing eldritch symbols in the air.
Warlocks, be ready for anything!
Suddenly, a slow, mocking applause cuts through the tension. All eyes turn upward. Atop a nearby roof stands a figure that exudes an aura of menace and authority in equal measure. Clad in a pristine black tuxedo and top hat, his face hidden behind a gold-rimmed Viridian mask, he cuts a striking figure against the darkening sky.
Bravo, my dear. You are as perceptive as they say. I do so love an informed audience.
He tips his hat in a mockery of gentlemanly courtesy.
I'm afraid I can't stay for the whole performance, but do try to make it interesting, won't you? It's so rare to find good entertainment these days.
Why don't you come down here and entertain us yourself? You overdressed peacock.
Oh, my dear mountain of muscle. That would be terribly unsporting of me. Besides, I so enjoy watching from the cheap seats. Kill them, slowly.
His voice turns cold as ice. With those chilling words, the tension snaps like a bowstring. The masked warlocks lunge forward, their blades flashing in the fading light as arcane energy crackles around them. Our heroes brace themselves, weapons at the ready, as the battle for their lives begins. The air crackles with arcane energy as our heroes face off against the sinister warlocks of the Circle of the Whispering Shadow. The marketplace, once bustling with life, now stands as a makeshift battlefield. Let the combat commence. One of the warlocks, his eyes glinting with malice behind his Viridian mask, raises his hands, dark energy swirling around his fingertips.
Let's see how you dance when you can't move, shall we?
The warlock unleashes a powerful hold person spell, targeting both Crothar and Nali. Our mountain of muscle, Crothar, his feral instincts kicking in, fights against the magical paralysis with every fibre of his being. But alas, even his mighty will cannot overcome the arcane assault. Nali, however, her mind as agile as her body, shrugs off the spell's effects with a sly grin.
Nice try, Maskface. But it'll take more than that to hold this shadow down.
With the grace of a cat, Nali darts between market stalls, using her cunning to vanish from sight. The warlock's eyes dart around, searching in vain for their elusive prey. But wait. High above the fray, the sharp-dressed man makes his move. With a flourish of his cane, he unleashes a devastating synaptic static, engulfing our heroes in a maelstrom of psychic energy.
My dear uninvited guests, allow me to give you a taste of true power. I do hope your minds are flexible.
The psychic assault crashes over Crothar, Nali and Valeria like a tidal wave of pain. They stagger, their thoughts clouded, and their reflexes dulled by the insidious magic.
By the mountain's beard, my head.
Focus, everyone! We can't let them gain the upper hand.
As our heroes reel from the psychic assault, Valeria summons her innate magical prowess. With a whispered incantation, becoming invisible to her foes.
Can't hit what you can't see, you creeps.
But the warlocks are far from done. Warlock 4 conjures forth a sphere of utter darkness, filled with writhing tentacles and bone-chilling cold. The hunger of Hadar manifests in the center of the battlefield, promising agony to any who dare enter its domain. The remaining warlocks, their confidence growing, unleash a barrage of eldritch blasts. Though Nali remains hidden and Valeria invisible, poor paralyzed Crothar bears the brunt of their assault.
Let's give the big one a little push, shall we?
The magical force slams into Crothar, threatening to send him tumbling into the nightmarish sphere of darkness. Civilians flee in terror, and at the center of it all, a sphere of utter darkness pulsates with malevolent intent. From his lofty perch, the sharp-dressed man's mocking laughter cuts through the din.
Oh dear heroes, you seem to be struggling. My acolytes will ensure this day ends poorly for you.
Warlock 3, his eyes gleaming with cruel intent, turns his attention to the paralyzed Crothar.
Let's see how you dance now, Mountain Man.
3 beams of eldritch energy burst forth from the warlock's fingertips, each one slamming into Crothar with unerring accuracy. The Goliath, still frozen by magical paralysis, is helpless as the force pushes him deeper into the writhing darkness of the hunger of Hadar. But wait, from the shadows our nimble rogue Nali strikes.
Not so fast, Maskface.
With the grace of a panther, Nali emerges from her hiding spot, her rapier flashing in the chaotic light. The blade finds its mark, sinking deep into Warlock 3's side.
Ah, you little pest!
The sharp-dressed man, ever the puppet master, doesn't miss a beat. With a casual flick of his wrist, he casts a spell of invisibility on the wounded Warlock 3.
Now you see him, now you don't. Care to try your luck again, little shadow?
Meanwhile, within the sphere of darkness, Crothar fights against the magical paralysis with all his might. The cold seeps into his bones, but the barbarian's iron will prevails.
By cord strength I will not fall.
Breaking free from the paralysis, Crothar summons his legendary endurance and charges out of the hunger of Hadar, his muscles steaming in the cold air. But the warlocks are relentless. Eldritch blasts streak through the air, threatening to push Crothar back into danger.
Back you go, brute!
As Crothar struggles against the magical onslaught, Valeria, still invisible, decides it's time to even the odds. With a whispered incantation, she summons a raging fireball.
Taste the flames of retribution.
The marketplace erupts in a conflagration of magical fire, engulfing several warlocks in its fury. Screams of pain echo through the square as the flames lick at their robes. But the circle of the Whispering Shadow is not without its defenses. Warlocks raise their hands, magical barriers shimmering into existence as they prepare to counter any further spells.
Your magic won't save you now, witch.
As the smoke clears and the echoes of explosions fade, our heroes find themselves at a crossroads. Crothar, battered but free. Nali, hidden once more but denied her target. Valeria, invisible yet surrounded by watchful enemies. The sharp-dressed man's voice cuts through the momentary lull, a chilling reminder of the true threat that looms above them all.
Oh, what a delightful show. But I'm afraid the final act is yet to come, my darlings. Shall we raise the curtain on your demise?
The once bustling marketplace has transformed into a battleground of arcane fury. Overturned stalls litter the square, debris rains from the sky, and the air crackles with magical energy. Our heroes stand bloodied but unbowed, facing the dwindling forces of the Circle of the Whispering Shadow. High above, the sharp-dressed man's laughter echoes across the chaos, a chilling reminder of the puppet master pulling the strings.
Oh my, it seems my little acolytes are having trouble with you lot. Perhaps it's time to raise the stakes.
As if in response to their master's taunt, the invisible warlock 3 strikes. Eldritch energy erupts from thin air, hurtling towards the battered Crothar.
Show yourself, coward.
The blasts slam into Crothar, pushing him dangerously close to the writhing darkness of the hunger of Hadar. But our Goliath barbarian stands firm, his muscles straining against the magical assault. Meanwhile, Nali, our nimble rogue, sees her opportunity. With the grace of a shadow, she darts from her hiding spot, rapier gleaming in the chaotic light.
Time to thin the herd.
Her blade finds its mark, sinking deep into Warlock 4's side. The Warlock's eyes widen in shock as life drains from their body, crumpling to the ground in a lifeless heap.
Good help is so hard to find these days.
With a casual flick of his wrist, the sharp-dressed man casts another invisibility spell, this time enveloping Warlock 1 in magical obscurity. Crothar, his rage building to a fever pitch, charges towards the nearest visible enemy, his great axe singing through the air.
For Cord and for glory.
The axe cleaves into Warlock 2, leaving a devastating gash. The Warlock staggers but remains standing, blood pouring from the wound. Not to be outdone, Valeria, still cloaked in invisibility, decides it's time to turn up the heat. Literally.
Let the fires of justice consume you.
A massive fireball erupts in the center of the remaining Warlocks. Flames engulf Warlock 2, who falls to the ground, consumed by the inferno. Warlock 5 screams in agony as the fire sears their flesh, while the invisible Warlock 1 is caught in the blast, their silhouette momentarily visible in the flames.
Retreat. We must retreat.
In desperation, Warlock 5 vanishes in a puff of mist, reappearing 30 feet away. With shaking hands, they launch a wild eldritch blast towards where they last saw Valeria.
You missed me.
The blast goes wide, dissipating harmlessly against a nearby wall. As the smoke clears, we see the battlefield has shifted dramatically. 2 Warlocks lie dead, 2 more are invisible, and the 5th is badly wounded and retreating. The sharp-dressed man's voice cuts through the momentary lull, a hint of irritation now evident in his tone.
Well, well. It seems you're more resourceful than I gave you credit for. But don't celebrate just yet, my dears. The true test is yet to come.
The marketplace battlefield has become a graveyard of fallen warlocks and shattered dreams. The air crackles with spent magic, and the acrid smell of smoke mingles with the metallic tang of blood. Our heroes stand bloodied but unbowed, their determination burning brighter than ever. High above, the sharp-dressed man's composure finally begins to crack, a flicker of irritation dancing across his face.
Well, well. It seems I've underestimated you lot. No matter. The show must go on.
With a lazy flick of his wrist, the sharp-dressed man reinforces the invisibility of Warlock 3. Nali, her eyes gleaming with predatory focus, spots the fleeing Warlock 5. Like a shadow given life, she darts through the debris-strewn marketplace.
No escape for you, mask face.
Her rapier flashes in the chaotic light, finding its mark with deadly precision. Warlock 5 falls, their last breath escaping in a pained gasp. Meanwhile, Crothar, his massive frame heaving with exertion and rage, turns his attention to the last visible threat.
Show yourself, coward. Face me.
Despite the invisibility cloaking Warlock 1, Crothar's battle-honed senses detect the faintest rustling of robes. With a mighty swing, his axe cleaves the air and finds flesh.
Impossible. How did you...
But the relentless assault isn't over. Valeria, still cloaked in her own invisibility, decides it's time to end this once and for all.
Let the heavens themselves strike you down.
A blinding arc of lightning erupts from her fingertips, snaking towards Warlock 1. For a moment, it seems the Warlock might counter the spell, but Valeria's determination is unshakable. The lightning strikes true, instantly vaporizing Warlock 1 and leaping to the invisible Warlock 3. We hear a scream of agony as the last Warlock is revealed, his clothing smoking and his body racked with pain.
Master, help us!
But the sharp-dressed man remains unmoved, his eyes gleaming with cruel amusement as his last acolyte struggles. Warlock 3, realizing he's been abandoned, makes a desperate attempt to flee. With a whispered word, he vanishes in a puff of mist, reappearing at the edge of the battlefield.
You haven't seen the last of us. The Circle will have its revenge.
With the last of his strength, the Warlock hurls a final eldritch blast at Crothar, pushing the mighty barbarian back. But it's too little, too late. As the dust settles, our heroes stand victorious amidst the ruins of the marketplace. The Warlocks lie defeated, their threat neutralized. But one question remains, hanging in the air like the acrid smoke of battle. What of the sharp-dressed man?
Bravo, my unexpected stars. You've given me quite the show. But remember, darlings, this was merely the opening act. The real performance is yet to come.
Our heroes stand amidst the chaos, their bodies battered but their spirits unbroken. High above, the sharp-dressed man watches with detached amusement as his last remaining Warlock fights desperately for survival.
Oh, do keep it interesting, my little pawn. I'd hate for the finale to be disappointing.
Warlock 3, invisible and surrounded by illusory duplicates, realizes that survival now depends on a hasty retreat. With a flourish of their cloak, they attempt to vanish into the wreckage of the marketplace.
I will not fall here. Not like this. Not like this.
But our nimble rogue Gnarly is not so easily fooled. Her keen eyes scan the battlefield, searching for any sign of the fleeing Warlock.
You can run, but you can't hide from me, Mask Face.
With the grace of a panther, Gnarly leaps from her hiding spot, her rapier flashing in the dim light. The blade strikes true, but alas, it passes through one of the Warlock's illusory duplicates.
Slippery little shadow, aren't you? But I've got your number now.
Meanwhile, Crothar, our mighty barbarian, stands on the brink of collapse. His muscles tremble with exhaustion, but the fire of rage still burns in his eyes.
By cord strength, I'll see this through to the end.
With a roar that shakes the very foundations of the marketplace, Crothar charges towards the last known location of the Warlock. His great axe cleaves through the air, guided by some primal instinct.
Impossible. How? Did you?
The Warlock's invisibility shatters like glass as Crothar's axe finds its mark. The last of our foes crumples to the ground, their threat finally extinguished. Valeria, still cloaked in invisibility, watches as her companions secure their hard-fought victory. The battlefield falls eerily silent, broken only by the laboured breathing of our heroes. Suddenly, a slow, mocking applause echoes from above. The sharp-dressed man stands at the edge of his rooftop perch, a cruel smile playing across his mask.
My dear stubborn friends, you really should stop digging in places where you don't want to be buried. Your predecessors, oh so confident in the company's reputation, dug their own graves facing an ancient enemy. An enemy that doesn't scare so easily. Impressive. Most impressive. But this was only a test, a warm-up. I shall see you again soon. Until then, enjoy your little victory.
Overturned stalls, shattered pottery, and the remnants of magical warfare paint a grim picture of the battle's aftermath. In the distance, an alarm bell pierces the eerie silence, its urgent clanging growing ever louder. Our victorious trio, battered and exhausted, stand amidst the destruction. But their moment of triumph is short-lived. From his lofty perch, the sharp-dressed man's voice cuts through the air like a velvet-wrapped dagger. With a flourish that would make a stage magician envious, the sharp-dressed man produces 3 blood-red roses from within his coat.
There we go, lovelies. Something to remember me by.
He tosses the roses with casual grace, each one landing at the feet of Crothar, Gnarly and Valeria. Before our heroes can react, the air shimmers around the sharp-dressed man.
Until next time, my unexpected stars. Do try to survive. It would be such a shame to lose such promising actors so early in the play.
With a thunderous crack and a puff of smoke, the sharp-dressed man vanishes. In his wake, the roses transform, twisting and growing into an impenetrable wall of thorns, cutting off any chance of pursuit.
Coward! Face us like a true warrior.
I don't think he's much interested in a fair fight, big guy.
No, he's playing a much larger game. But what?
Her words are cut short as armored figures burst onto the scene, weapons drawn and faces grim. The city guard has arrived, surrounding our heroes with a ring of steel.
In the name of Drakestide Cove, lay down your weapons. You'll answer for this destruction.
As our heroes exchange worried glances, the weight of their victory suddenly feels much heavier. The battle may be over, but it seems their troubles in Drakestide Cove are only just beginning. Will they be able to explain their actions to the suspicious guards? What secrets lie behind the sharp-dressed man's cryptic warnings? And what ancient enemy could strike such fear into the heart of the company? Brave adventurers, your journey through the realms of Ethoria has only just begun. The echoes of battle may fade, but the call to adventure rings eternal. Will you answer that call? Will you delve deeper into the mysteries that await, unravel the secrets of the Drakestide Coast, and face the darkness that threatens to consume all? The choice is yours, hero. Don't miss a single moment of this epic saga. Like this video to fuel the fires of adventure, and subscribe to our channel to ensure your place among the legends of Ethoria. Hit that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop. Until next time, may your critical hits be many and your fumbles few.